Oh, that looks good. Welcome back to our CBS News Live special report following President Bush's news conference. We're bringing you up to date on events in China. And as part of our effort to do that, let's go back now live to the White House and our CBS News White House correspondent, Leslie Stahl, who's just out of the news conference. Leslie, President Bush, as he generally does, handled this news conference with a great sense of command and aplomb. Some of his critics say, listen, George Bush is a very nice man, is turning out to be a good president, but about China, he's trying to straddle the fence. Surely the White House has heard that. What is their response to he's picking the dangerous middle option?
Well, my read of the news conference wasn't so much that he straddled the fence, but that he made it very clear he wants to preserve this relationship despite the brutality. He wants to go forward. He refused to condemn Deng Xiaoping and said, look, we don't know if he's responsible or not. He said he tried to reach the leaders there to tell them he feels this is an important relationship. And I thought he said as much, that he did not want to put on any other reprisals, despite what we're watching going forward, including the roundup of the students. One reason, obviously, is the strategic importance of China to us. They've been close to being our ally against the Soviet Union, and our ally in that part of the world, which we consider extremely vital. But also George Bush himself was part of this 17 years of diplomacy and nurturing this relationship, and you got a sense that he feels some personal tie to keeping it afloat.
I want to make sure that I understand that you don't think that any more criticism, anything more critical, or any additional moves will be forthcoming from the Bush administration.
My sense is that unless the pressure on the president rises increasingly from this point forward to do that, he will say we stand with the students. But you didn't hear much ringing rhetoric about the brutality tonight, and you heard a lot about how he wants to keep this relationship going, that he tried to reach the leaders by phone today to tell them that. So that, I thought, was the overriding message and where we stand right now.
Does the president and those around him, do they believe, as nearly everyone else believes, that thousands of people were massacred in this?
Oh, yes. They know that. They've told us that our intelligence shows us that. But more importantly, it appears at this stage, Dan, President Bush wants to find some way to get back to a relationship with the government of China.
Leslie Stahl, thank you very much. With us live in our studio here in New York, and always delight to have her, is Betty Bao Lord, Chinese scholar, novelist, and until recently the wife of our ambassador in Beijing. That is, that they were in Beijing representing our country and are now back in this country. Betty, is the pro-democracy, pro-reform, pro-freedom movement dead and gone for the foreseeable future?
It depends on what you say. If it's manifested, I think perhaps everybody will put on their masks and be quiet. But I think in their guts, the rage and the feelings that were brought out by these months will still be there and simmering. So I think that the democracy movement may be silent and may be unseen, but China is a country where the things that are unseen are sometimes more important than the things that are seen, and what is not said more important than what is said.
Now, Beijing, the Communist Party and the government have hammered down, particularly in Beijing, and they have it at least looking as if the chaos is subsiding. What do we know about the other provinces and other places in this vast country, China?
I think in the urban areas where VOA can be reached and where a lot of the students have gone back to, the truth of Tiananmen Square will be filtering down through the people within the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. The problem is the countryside, where 80% of the people live. I think it'll take longer, but I think it'll get there too, because there are millions now of peasants working in the cities who will also get this news, and they will also pass it back home.
The president, when asked about Deng Xiaoping and his responsibility for what happened in Tiananmen Square, seemed to indicate that, well, he wasn't convinced that Deng Xiaoping could be held responsible. Based on your experience in China, could that be?
I think it could, because Deng Xiaoping may have been playing the chairman of the board rather than the chief executive officer.
That would be Li Peng.
Yes, and in many ways, I think he wants to see how this thing comes out, because I think he's interested in still being the head of the party and the head of the country. So I think he may very well let Li Peng take the blame.
Can we expect reprisals as happened when the Cultural Revolution, so-called Cultural Revolution, was at its height not too long ago?
Yes. I'm afraid I think we can, because they have to make a few examples of people. There's an old Chinese saying that says you kill a chicken to scare the monkey. And I think they'll have to kill or do something about chickens so that the rest of the population will keep quiet and behave.
You think it may be a time of terror for some people who led this pro-reform, pro-democracy movement?
I think they will be in hiding. I was interested to hear that they announced the fact that they were going to go to the campuses. That's almost giving the students a chance to get away.
Betty Ballard, thanks. When we come back, we'll look at the official government view, what the Chinese government says has been happening.